dear devotees, and welcome to today's session. How are you doing? I pray that all is well with you and your families at this time. So today we're moving on to the next verse number 8 of this beautiful pastime of Mother Yashoda binding baby Krishna, which is synonymous with the Damodarastikam pastime. So this is the actual chapter in the 10th canto that describes this beautiful pastime and this very deep interaction of love between Mother Yashoda in the Vatsalya Bhav, the parental mood, and baby Krishna. So today we're on day number 9, and moving forward, today's verse, Ulukal Angrir Upari Vivastitam Markaya Kamam Daditam Sichit Stitam Hayangavam Chorya Visankitekshinam Nirexya Paschat Sutam Agam Achanyah. Translation: Krishna at that time was sitting on an upside-down wooden mortar for grinding spices. So as the pastime unfolds, Mother Yashoda is trying to trace the criminal scene and she's trying to see what has happened. She can see what has happened, that the yogurt and the butter has been stolen, that the yogurt and the butter pots have been broken. And she's trying to figure out who has done it. And number one suspect is Damodar, baby Krishna, because he's not present there, but she's looking for the evidence now. So as she moves around the house, we'll see in today's verse, she starts to see footprints. And this is one of the most beautiful things, because to a mother, it's not a problem. It's not the end of the world when the child does some mischief or some naughty. Actually, she enjoys it because she can see that the child is growing. The child is becoming inquisitive. The child is thinking. She's always trying to figure out what is the child thinking. So she's always trying to absorb her mind into the mind of the child. And this is so that she can do the service better. That's why Krishna is saying in Gita 7.1, and this verse Prabhupada spoke on, the most verses he spoke on was this verse 7.1. Maya Shakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjan Matashraya Ashamshaya Shamakramam Yata Gyasnasi Takshanu. So he tells Arjuna, I spoke all these different yoga processes to you, 4 different yoga processes. But now I'm speaking Bhakti Yoga, which starts with Manmana, engaging your mind. Manmana, Bhava Mad Bhakto, engage your mind in Bhava, mood. There's emotions there, Bhava Mad Bhakto. So Manmana, first start by engaging your mind, using your mind to try to absorb it in me. And that absorption we can see in this perfected state of Mother Yashoda. She's always absorbed in Krishna. The pastime started by her when Krishna was sleeping. That means he wasn't in front of her in her loving exchange at that time. And what was she doing? She was singing. We were reading how her bangles were like cartels, and the dub-dub sound of the grinding mortar, of the churning pot, was like the mridanga, and she was singing the beautiful childhood pastimes of Krishna. And then when he wakes up, then it's direct service now. But she doesn't see it as service. It's not something she's obliged to do. It's part of her swabhaviki, her nature, to serve Krishna in this way. So a mother, actually, there's ambivalent feelings there, which is very interesting, because she can see that he did mischief, so she wants to correct him. But her maternal nature is also very strong, that he mustn't be fearful. He mustn't be scared or terrified, so mortified that he can't relate back to the mother. He becomes fearful of the mother. Because Mother Yashoda knows at this time I am his only shelter. As a child, mother is like the complete dependent shelter for everything, including food. From her own body, she's giving food to this child. So it's a very, very deep connection. So the mother is concerned, two things: that he grows up properly, is strong. Mother's always asking, what did you eat? Did you eat enough? What you eating? What you ate today? Mother's always concerned what the child is eating, that the child is eating enough. And secondly, she's concerned about how is his upbringing. That he's learning properly to fit in. He's not going to be a thug. Now Krishna is turning out to be a thug. He's stealing, breaking. So she's concerned that she has to remedy this, but she's also concerned that she does it in a loving way. So mothers have this anxiety. This is maternal, or this is Vatsalya Bhav. There's always this conflict, that is the child nurtured and is the child character good. So we see here that as she's tracing the steps, she comes outside and then she sees, oh, there's this fellow. And what has he done? He's taken the grinding mortar and turned it upside down. So he's toppled over the grinding mortar. Why? Because you can't sit on the grinding mortar, because the top part is completely opened. It's used for grinding spices. But if you turn it upside down, it becomes a very good seat then. So he wants to sit on something. So he wants to sit, then he turned the grinding mortar upside down. I was remembering also in my earlier years, my childhood, that my grandmother and my aunt, I think some of you seen the picture of my aunt who passed away in March this year. She was a great matriarch in the family. Is my father's eldest sister, and she was a devotee as well. And she, in the earlier years, she and my grandmother, everything that was ground, the spices, everything was ground on not a grinding mortar but a flat stone. Those of the older generation, senior citizens, senior devotees. So those who are senior devotees will know that this grinding mortar gradually became modified from a grinding mortar to a grinding stone. And if you go to South India, it's still used a lot as a grinding stone. So it's a big slab of flat stone which has chips in it, like little holes chipped into it. And like when they would grind spices or grind dal, they would grind it on that stone. And we would watch them how they would do this. They would have like a belna kind of stone, and they would have a flat grinding stone, and they would grind spices, and all the smell would come, the chilies and all the spices. And we'll be standing and watching them. Can we try? No. You'll smash your fingers. Because if you don't know how to do it, you can easily smash your fingers underneath the stone. So no, you just watch. Children want to try everything, So that modification. So in Mother Yashoda's time, that same device, that tool, was used as a grinding mortar. And then gradually it seems to have modified into a grinding stone. Same purpose. But now in Vrindavan, currently, maybe it's a traditional thing, because in Vrindavan they also use the pestle and mortar, they call it. But it's a handheld device now. In Mother Yashoda's time, they would probably grind a lot of things in that, so it was a big device. If Krishna was sitting on it, it must have been a very big mortar. So she's standing and she's watching, and she can see him sitting on this grinding mortar. So Mother Yashoda is watching him. Let's see what the translation says. And was distributing milk preparations such as yogurt and butter to the monkeys as he liked. So we can see he didn't only steal butter, he also stole yogurt. So it was very interesting how he's distributing there, because whatever he would have taken would have been just one handful if he took from the pots, unless he carried a pot out, which we don't know about. So if he took only in his hand, he would have just been one handful of yogurt, one handful of butter. And he could have mixed both up also. But if he was distributing, maybe he actually took one of those pots out and he was sitting and doing food for life to the monkeys. So his back was towards Mother Yashoda. He was not aware that she was watching him, and he was facing that way, but his consciousness was troubling him. Children have that nature, they're innocent, so when they do something wrong, it bothers them. They can't just hide it. That's why you'll see it's a very difficult thing to learn how to lie. Because it's completely going against our nature. We can see, we can speak the lie, but the face is saying something else. Our eyes are saying something else. The body language is saying something else. So mothers, don't listen to what's coming out of the mouth. They see what the body language, what you're doing after, they're seeing what you're doing after that. Where's your eyes go? The eyes are going restless like this, like that. That means why are you doing like that? You must have done something wrong. Otherwise, why are you looking this way, that way? Why your hands are all fidgety? Why are you sweating? So these are all body signs, body language that, hey, this fella did something wrong. So when we see this, mothers are super expert at this. They just know what you did wrong now. So she's watching him and she's seeing from behind, she's watching him. So the Acharyas also tell us that at this time, why did Krishna feed the monkeys? So they tell us that Krishna was so grateful that in Treta Yuga, that during Ram's time, the monkeys had endeavored so much to serve him just so that he can bring Sita back and kill Ravana, establish Dharma. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So to establish that and to bring and protect the devotees, paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chata duskritam dharma samstapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. So this is what Krishna does. So he was so grateful that these monkeys had assisted, that when they were born again in Krishna's pastime in Dwapara Yuga, then at that time he was so grateful to them, he was feeding them. We know also that Hanuman also came to Vrindavan. Hanuman, at that time they were needing stones to build the bridge. So Hanuman was looking all over, and Himalayas to Vrindavan, not too far, 6 hours journey, not too far. So Hanuman came past there and he saw one big rock. He said, oh, this can be perfect. What was that rock? Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. It was Govardhan Hill. So Hanuman had lifted Govardhan Hill. But just at that time, Akashvani, he heard a sound in the sky saying, no, Hanuman, the bridge is built, no need anymore. And Govardhan was feeling, oh, you're just about to use me in the Lord's service. Now you're not going to use me? You're going to put me back down? So at that time, Giriraj got a benediction that, yes, we won't use you now, but in the next avatar, when I come as Krishna, then you'll be definitely a major part of the pastimes. And we see Giriraj, Govardhan, is such a major part of Krishna's pastimes. So the translation goes on. Because of having stolen, he was looking all around with great anxiety, suspecting that he might be chastised by Mother Yashoda. So he's in tremendous anxiety now. He knows he did wrong. He knows he did wrong. And he's going to get it. When we were small, I don't know if it's maybe a vernacular or a language thing, but they used to call us Tunsal. And when I came to Vrindavan,